Good day, welcome to Pastor's Library. I'm Stephen Redman, and this is the channel where we talk all things about theology books for the Christian and books that might be on your reading list for a bachelor's or master's degree, or books that just might be of interest to a minister or a pastor, something to line your busy shelves with. And if you like what we have to say, please click the like button and subscribe and click on the bell, and that way you'll get to know every time we publish another Pastor's Library. So today I want us to particularly talk about an author that is best known as a commentator, and his name is Craig Keener. Now, I particularly came across Craig Keener whilst doing my master's degree in theology, and I think this was on the reading list for my Luke Acts module that I studied, and it's called The Spirit in the Gospels and Acts, and subtitled Divine Purity and Power. And Craig Keener has written an awful lot of books, but this was the first one I discovered. And as I began to read it, I found this was academic to the level at which I had been expecting. You had to really process your thinking as you were reading. But I also found that Craig Keener was actually quite a good communicator, and that he didn't just say things with the maximum numbers of syllables in the words to try and confuse, but he really was trying to communicate well. So I actually made a note, look out for other books by Craig Keener. Well, of course, that was my mistake, because then they started to fall out of the heavens on my head. Because Craig Keener is a very profound author. He is always turning out a new book. I suppose he's a bit like N.T. Wright, you know, just absolutely books coming out of his ear holes. And Craig Keener has the advantage, I think, of being a very well-rounded theologian who is very open to all parts of Scripture. I mean, he's not particularly turned off by a particular theory or a particular theology that has stopped him from engaging with parts of Scripture. So Craig is very good for that purpose. Now, just to let me give you a bit more of an idea of how much of a profound thinker he is. He's got a commentary on the book of Acts. Great. It's very thick, isn't it? No, actually, there are 4 volumes that are this thick. It is an enormous work. It's a sort of a magnum of his works. It's the most prestigious thing he's produced. I think if you're trying to buy all 4 as a pack, it's about £150. If you're buying them singly, it would probably add up to more than that. This is a very expensive work. But frankly, and I have a lot of commentaries on the book of Acts, frankly, if you look at this, I am not sure there is anyone out there that would say that this isn't the definitive Acts commentary in our generation. Craig Keener has put in a phenomenal amount of work. If you look him up on YouTube, you can find lots of YouTubes of him speaking, and you'll see how he had tens of thousands of record cards before he went computerized, and every little thing that he thought might come in useful, he would make out a record card. This man is probably a little bit on the spectrum, but you know, thank God for it. His attention to detail, his great communication skills, which are so obvious even in a work of this stature. I think we should all be grateful for the Craig Keeners of this world. And certainly this book is absolutely outstanding. Now, biographies and references, bibliographies, are so important in any work. The bibliography in this Acts commentary is about half of one of the books. It is absolutely stunning. You can find anything that is worth reading about the book of Acts just by getting volume 4 of this and referencing it. So Craig Keener has delivered to us an outstanding commentary which will survive the test of time, I am sure, and thank God for it. He has also produced a much more manageable volume commentary on the book of Acts, which that's a lot more manageable, isn't it? And this is part of the New Cambridge Bible Commentary series. And it's very, very good. Of course, you will find nowhere near the level of detail that you get in the 4-volume set. But it is a very, very good commentary if you are looking for a commentary to start with on the book of Acts. I found this very helpful, and I'm sure you would too, although nothing can prize the 4-volume set out of my hands. Now, in terms of this a higher level of detail, really excellent commentary writing, I would say this comes up in 2 or 3 other sets. One is the Gospel of John, which is a 2-volume set. And as you can see, this is also a very generous product. Over 800 pages in each volume, which is a lot of pages. And I found this very helpful when studying John for preaching. And frankly, although J. Ramsey Michael's commentary in the New International Commentary in the New Testament series has always been my go-to commentary for the Gospel of John, I would have to say this one has very much taken over. It's really excellent. And again, you learn so much from reading the bibliographies. You find out other avenues that you may want for personal study. And again, Craig Keener is brilliant at providing that information. In terms of other commentaries, he's written one on 1st and 2nd Corinthians for the new Cambridge series. And I have to say, this is a commentary on, particularly in 1st Corinthians, that I'd recommend to anybody. Craig Keener doesn't hide away from the obvious or try to be overtly discreet about things. He just tells it the way it is, and I found it very helpful indeed. In fact, he has also turned out what I would probably say is my go-to commentary for 1 Peter. This hasn't been out long. I think I only bought it during the first COVID lockdown. But it's a remarkable commentary on 1 Peter, and will tell you a lot of background, as well as having, again, his trademark huge bibliography. Just to look at the book there, this section here is the bibliography. Again, when you are studying any book, what you really need is a good bibliography, so you can see what's out there. And sometimes you can get a lot of things from Amazon's website, but believe me, this is quite a remarkable product. And this is a Baker academic product as well. One commentary which is also outstanding is his work on Matthew. Now, this is a socio-rhetorical commentary, which was a series really made famous by Ben Witherington III. And Craig gives his gratitude to Ben in this book for allowing him to write in this field. But it's a great commentary. Again, it gives you so much background to Matthew and really draws out the meaning in light of the context. And I found this absolutely excellent. Even from the nativity section onwards, it grabbed me. And whereas with all books like this, I don't really know anyone that sits down and reads them from cover to cover. We tend to use these for reference, and we tend to read a section at a time. But I've read so many sections of this, I think I qualify for having read it all. It really is an excellent commentary, and I commend that to you as well. If you look back at my NCCS commentary, then you will see my comments at the time about his Romans commentary. Again, a very, very good commentary, very manageable. This is not something that will break the back to actually read from cover to cover. It's a very, very good product indeed. And he is quite renowned for his Revelation commentary, which is part of the Naivac series. Of course, this is the series that has applications in every section, and doing that well on the book of Revelation, I would suggest, is a little bit difficult. And Keener just knocks it into a cocked hat. It's a very good commentary indeed. Other books that he's turned out that are worth mentioning are his IVP Bible commentary on the New Testament. Now, this is designed to give you the cultural background to every verse. And I find this an essential tool when I am studying anything, particularly to bring to the church as a preacher. It's a very, very, very healthy volume. Again, not a cheap one, but it's sort of one of those that you sort of have to have if you're going to commit to really serious study and bringing out the deep areas of truth to your congregation. I highly commend that one too. He's also brought out some time ago a 2-volume section on miracles. Now, this is about the credibility of New Testament miracles, and he writes this as a believer, not as a liberal. He writes this believing in miracles, and he gives us absolutely loads of material here. And if you're studying the miracles, for example, I did a series of miracles in John's Gospel, another series of miracles in Luke's Gospel, and this set of books was very helpful to me as a preacher in delivering that. Now, what's rather interesting is he's quite recently brought out Miracles Today as a paperback, which is affordable, accessible, very reasonable. It has a great deal of helpful titles of its chapters. For example, Witnesses to Miracles, Videos and Doctors' Reports. Who else have you ever read has written a book with things like that in? The Dead Are Raised. He has a whole section on the raising of the dead. And he has great questions that he answers, like, do blind people still receive their sight? Do disabled people still walk? Are lepers still cleansed? Do deaf people still hear? These are really reasonable questions. They're not unreasonable at all for a Christian to ask, or for a non-Christian to ask us. And Craig Keener here provides proof, or shall I say, proof to the standard that the media would require. And it's a really excellent book. It's sort of built on to the slightly more academic 2-volume Miracles set, but this is aimed at the mass of the public. Now, I'm about to leave Craig Keener here because we could just go on all afternoon, because he's such a profound author. I haven't shown you quite half of what I've got, and what I've got is not quite half of what he's written. So there's an awful lot out there. It is a name you should feel you can trust, I think, when buying commentaries. But he also edits a journal that comes out once a year. In fact, it's every September. It's called the Journal of the Gospels and Acts Research. And this attracts some really big name authors who write for it and you get peer-reviewed, high-quality research papers which are edited to make sure that they are readable, although they definitely have an academic angle. And these are absolutely great if you're doing a degree or if you've done one. These are really what you would call a primary, a real important source for your work. And I can see these being quoted in master's essays for the years to come. But this is a real high quality product, and like most journals, it has a big section on book reviews, which personally I find really helps me in my purchasing of new books. So, and that's as much as I feel I can tell you in a few minutes about Craig Keener, but he's just one of those authors to look out for, and certainly if I saw his name on a commentary, I probably wouldn't think anymore. I would just reach out and buy it, because he's a very dependable guy and an excellent theologian in our day and generation. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, remember to click like, click the thumbs up, click the bell and click subscribe so that you will know next time we publish an episode of Pastor's Library. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.